Hi guys, good morning. I hope you guys are able to hear me and able to see my screen.
Hi Vishal, good morning. Yes.
All right, perfect.
Hi Vishal, good morning.
Hi Prem, good morning. And any doubts, any one of you, before we proceed further?
Yeah, Vishal, I have a couple of questions before we proceed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, I have gone through day before yesterday's session, so
Okay.
I have questions from that session. So,
Yeah.
what is create.package.info.java checkbox refers to while we create a new package?
Same. I'm right clicking on this and I'm saying, just a minute, new package. Okay. Now, what you're saying, package com dot merge
This check,
dot
this checkbox which is mentioned below.
which one you said?
This one, the checkbox mentioned below this.
Okay. So
Not this one.
okay, package info.java, I'm not very much sure what it says. Okay, it is something to do about, according to me, there is something called as documentation in Java. Okay, what is documentation is, I'll just give you a hint about documentation. Okay, for example, when I take the mouse pointer, you are getting this particular info about this particular, what you call this, println line. Okay, println line. Okay, and it is giving you println, like what is this particular what is this method, and it is there in which class, and it is there in, say, I'm not able to do this. So the first line what you see here, void is the return type of this method name is println. Okay, this is the method name. It is there in java.io package. Okay, so basically you're this is what you are seeing right now on the screen. This is called a Java doc. Okay, and when you do something like this, new package and create package info, it has to be something to do with the Java doc itself. Okay, I'm not very much sure. Say com dot pack dot dot pack. I'll just do it and see, but it has to be something to do with the Java documentation itself. Okay, now to minute. Give me 1 minute. Now there is a method called substring in Java. Okay. Now if I take the mouse pointer on this substring method, it gives you every details about this particular method. What is its return type, where it is available, okay, how it works with the example and all. Okay. And the package info.java, okay, it has to be something to do with the Java documentation itself. Okay, but I will confirm you what exactly, what is the exact use of it. Okay, but I have never done these things, but yeah, it has to be something to do with the Java doc itself. Okay, but I'll get back to you. What is this exactly? Any other doubt?
Okay, sure. Yes, so my second question is what is static when we initialize any
Yeah,
variable or
not I'm planning to do it today. Okay, planning to do it today. Static, that's what. Whenever I created the class, okay, so far only thing that you might have understood is this particular thing. void. Okay, static you or public we have not yet discussed. Most probably static I'll be discussing today. Static we have not.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my next question is like, what is the difference between methods and functions?
Okay, now they say there is a difference between methods and functions in some other programming languages. Okay, but in Java there is nothing called as functions. Okay, there is
Okay.
always and always methods. Okay, this is the thing. Now, but when you go to Java 8, okay, Java 8, there is something called as lambda expressions. Okay, lambda expressions.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the lambda expressions, they say there are some functions they have introduced. Okay. Now, the functions in the sense, if I tell you right now, I'm not sure how far you will be able to understand. Okay. Now, you have say a method public void greet. Okay, public void greet, and you say SYSOUT, something you are doing here. Okay, fine. Now, before Java 8, okay, before Java 8, you cannot pass a method to a method, in the sense you cannot pass a method as an argument. Okay, you can pass only a data type as an argument. I can say string x. Okay, so to this method, to greet method, we are passing this particular data type. What is the data type? String as a data type. Okay, but in Java 8, specifically something called as lambda expressions. Okay, even I'm not sure what are these lambda expressions. They are saying you can pass a method as an argument to this method. Okay, so in that case, your code might look something like this, and I have no clue about Java. You might look, say this is your method. Okay, say there is one more method, public void greeting, but in actually in Java there is no difference between what you call this. There is nothing called as functions. Okay, but they have introduced it in Java 8, and that too lambda expression. So what I'm doing, I have this method and just I'll cut this method and I will put it here. Okay, something like this you can do it in Java 8 using lambda expression. Okay, now these things which you pass as an argument, sometimes they call it as an functions in Java. Okay, apart from that, there are no such, you cannot call anything as a function in Java. Everything is a method, just the the change of word. Okay, there is uh, no actual difference what is methods and what are functions. Functions they call, in some other languages they call as functions, but in Java they call it as methods. It's always methods. That's the thing.
Okay. And
Mhm.
next thing is like, Ashtika asked one question in previous class,
Okay.
like what my understanding was, an object points to the starting address of a memory. Like if a memory is having of 5 bytes, so
No. 1 minute.
can we?
It is like this. Okay, say just 1 minute, huh?
Mhm.
Okay, methods, and this one you can very well say even to any interviewer, there is absolutely there is no concept called as functions. Okay, functions are nothing but methods in Java. Okay, that's it.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So here I'll tell you. Okay, say when you start running a program. Okay, start running a program. your operating system will allocate some memory for your Java, okay? Because Java, it runs as a process, correct? I mean, everything is a process on a computer, correct? So if at all you see task manager, okay, now you have Eclipse is a process. Microsoft Excel is a process. Similarly, when you run any program, there will be a process called java.exe, okay, java.exe, okay. To this process, your operating system will allocate some memory. Say this memory starts from 10,000, or 10,000. It goes on, sorry, 10,001. Okay, like this it will keep on going, okay, and it will fill all these things. Say memory is allocated for your Java process. Now when you start running, it's not that you say your program, you're writing something like this, your class is like this, class A, and you will have public static void main, okay, and here you will have string args, okay, and there is one more class called as class student, and in this class, say you have string name equals to something, and int roll number equals to 38 or 30, something like this, okay. Say you have something like this, and here in this class A you are saying student yes is equal to new of student, okay. this is the this is how you are creating the object. Now what is your question in this at this point of time?
Kushal, my question is like string name has been, you have defined string name as J-A-I, and Chika's question was that uh, it is taking 2 bytes. So when we are referring to name, when we are calling name, it is giving me the address of first byte. So why this value is coming into the is this value is occupying 2 bytes, 2 addresses.
No,
So
when you are
when you go
the
to
name,
when you go to the memory allocation table, can you please go to the Excel sheet?
yeah, no, you said when I accessing the name, it is giving me what you are saying.
Address of first byte.
No, that is not the truth. It doesn't give the address of first byte when you are referring to the name.
When we are creating a new object and when we are calling that object, it is showing me the address of first byte, like it is, if it is starting
You
from
mean
10,000.
SYSOUT? If I say yes, your name is not into picture at all. This is what
Right, it is S means uh, address of first byte of
yeah,
S
correct,
function,
correct. That's
S
correct.
method.
Yeah, see,
So like it is taking J. If I take the example of J, it is taking 2 byte and it is taking 10,000 and 10,001.
okay.
It is occupying both of the cells.
Okay.
So I think question was that like a variable value is occupying 2 bytes. So when we are referring to this object, why it is displaying the starting position,
Okay,
it
that
will be returning 10,000, right?
yes, correct. Okay, now
So
okay, go ahead.
so why it is
Why
not
you are why it is no.
returning 10,001 or 10,002?
Okay, that is because that is how they have designed the Java to, particular. Now they have that other day we have seen that particular method. Okay, did I show you that particular method? Something called as just a minute. Flag dot toString. Okay. Now if I go in here,
Mhm.
there is uh, not here. Just a minute. Okay. Example one. Okay. Now actually there is a different concept here. Okay. Now r dot toString. Okay, there is something called method overriding concept comes into picture. Now here actually when you are calling this, if you are printing something like this, right? Okay, say you are doing system.out.println. Okay, you will not understand this here, but again but I can still answer your question. Okay, when you say
Mhm.
create an object and just trying to print that object, behind the scene what happens is, okay, you will not see this. Behind the scene your Java compiler will put like this dot toString. It will call a method. Okay, it will call a method which is there in RRR class. A method name is toStrings. But do you see any such method in this example one? Any method named toString? There is no such method. So if at all you see the Java documentation of this, what it says, returns a string implementation of the object. In general, toString method returns the string that is textually represents this object. Okay, something all it says. Okay, but you can see someone has written the Java code and the Java documentation for this particular object. Okay, now if at all I go to that object, implementation of that object, it happens that it is there in the object class. Okay, in the object class this particular method is there. Okay, and if I go in further deep inside, okay, it is doing something here. Okay, something we don't know. Okay, it is calling one more method, and this is the one more method. Okay, and it goes on like this. Okay, it will go on like this, and as per this implementation whatever they are doing here, okay, as per the implementation of the Java, it will give you the first memory address. Okay, that is how Java, I mean Sun Microsystem has designed that one to work. Okay, that is what I can say you. See, what for your thing, what you need to know is, when you call this, when you just print this thing, behind the scene your Java compiler will put some a method called as dot toStrings, always and always. You can take it for granted. Okay. Now I'll show you with the example. Okay, but you will not understand what I'm doing right now. Okay, so I'll just show you with an example. Say I'll create a class called class student class, and I will have string name is equal to Vishal, int roll number is equal to 55. Okay, now this is my class. I have one more class. I'll say create students. Okay, This is my one more class, okay, and it has the main method, okay. Now you will gonna see here, okay, and whatever we said, it will always print the memory address. It is wrong. That is also we will see, okay. So these are all concept comes later, but yeah, I'll just show you guys, okay. And you guys might not understand student s is equal to new of student, okay. Now if I say sysovut s, what it will print? It will print me the memory address. That is what we have discussed. Let's check it whether it is printing the memory address. Okay, yes, it is printing the memory address. Okay, and how it is printing the memory address, I'll show you. Okay, to an extent I'll show you. Now the same method, I'm not doing any changes here. Okay, so far we have learned that it will always print the memory address, but I'll make some changes here, and I will say I'm adding one method, and the method name is toString method. Okay, and I will say I have written something. Okay, I have written, I have why this particular error message? Yeah, error message. I have given one method here, like any other method. Okay, you might think it is like any other method in a class. For example, I'll say public void greet. Okay, this method, I'll in the public void greet also I'll put the same code. Okay, of not void string. Its return type is string. Okay, say first I will have this method. Okay, public string greet. Okay, there is an arbitrary method. We are not calling this method and all. Okay, we are not calling that method here. Okay, so if you see, if you run this program, you will not gonna see any change in the output. Output is same. It is giving you memory address. But as soon as I add one more method called as toString method, you will see output getting changed. See, it is saying I won't return memory address this time. So there is a separate topic called as method overriding. Method overriding, and there is a concept called as inheritance. Okay, first inheritance comes, then method overriding comes, and that's when you will be able to understand what exactly we are trying to do. And if you see here, if you see here, if I take the mouse pointer on the thing, on the left hand side, okay, there is a slight arrow pointing towards up, okay, somewhere here. If you see, if at all you guys can see, okay. And don't try this at your by yourself, because this is not the time when we can start it. Okay, it says it overrides something called as java.lang.object.toString. Okay, so there is a separate concept called as overriding, and when you go to that concept, if you see, if in that method what they are doing get class name. There is again get class dot get name. Okay, there is a method which will return you the first part. Okay, I'll remove this as of now, which will return you this till this one. Okay, the highlighted part, com.merge.pack1.student. Then you are concatenating with @ symbol. This @ symbol is coming. Then it is saying integer dot hex to string. They are calling some other method guys. Okay, now basically what you need to understand here is Java guys have written the code that whenever you print s, behind the scene it will print .toString, and in this toString method they have written the code to call only to display the first memory address. Okay, That is the thing. If at all they wanted to print all the memory address, they have to change the design. That's it. The reason is only this much. It is they who have decided. Okay, and this particular method overriding, whatever I just discussed. Okay, when I put this toString, it got changed. Okay, you got how it got changed. You might not understand right now. Okay, not might not. You will definitely will not understand. But that is the discussion of the later tutorials, guys. Okay, it is, and it is not always okay. For right now, I said it is always print the first memory address. It's not entirely true, guys. Okay, so you will find lot of things when I'll say initially, but later on I'll say, you know, no, this is, we had discussed that, but that is not the entirely true. See, it is right here. I won't return memory address this time. You can do anything. You can do any implementation. Okay, that is a completely different topic. But for your, if at all I have to answer your question, I will say that is how Java guys have implemented their code, saying that whenever someone try to print the object reference, it should print first memory address alone. That is the thing. And we have just seen we can control what needs to be print. You know, we have seen what needs to be printed. That is the thing, guys. Okay.
Thanks, Vishal. And my last question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like I was debugging the code, so variable window was not opening up.
Yeah. See, variable window, any window which is not opening up, go to Windows right at the top, show view. Okay. Just see whether variable is here. If the variable is not there, go to other and say variable. And if you click and OK, that's it. It will come. And you always arrange it as per your need. Okay. You want variable to be here, just drag and drop, it will be there. Okay, so any, not just variable window. If at all you don't see the console, okay, show view console. Okay, that particular window will come up.
Okay, thanks.
Go ahead.
Thanks. That's all from my side.
No, I did not get you. What is the next question?
That's all from my side. Thank you, Vishal.
Yeah, okay, that's it, right? Okay, fine, man. Thanks a lot. But yeah, if at all you are trying the debugging, that's the best thing you can do, man. Okay, I'll tell you the truth. Okay, if at all you are doing the debugging, right, tomorrow, even if you have some problem, right, okay, when you develop, say you have to work on a real project and you are developing a framework, okay, you will be able to do whatever I can do. Seriously, I'm saying. Okay, so you will not need anybody's help. If at all you have Google and yourself, you will be fine. Okay, that is the thing. If at all you know the debugging, so debugging, try to do the debugging, and believe me, that was the only thing which really helped me. Okay, that is the thing.
Yep.
Great. And any other doubt, anyone, Shika or someone? No doubt. Okay, that is it. What is this toString method and all, we'll see, guys, later on. Okay, and in yesterday's class we have seen, okay, this one I'll get back to you. Okay, package info. Okay. Now we have seen local variable and the global variables. Okay, what are global variables, what are the local variables? Okay, in day before yesterday's class, and I said what are the primitive data type, what is the derived data type, and all those things. Okay, now this is the time wherein we can really understand what is static and what is non-static. Okay, this is the important thing, guys. Okay, dot merge dot factory stat non-stat. Okay, Let's see. Okay. Now this is the package I have. Give me 1 minute. I'll create a class and I will say person class. Okay, person class. And say person class is the thing wherein every person has string name. Okay, string roll number. Okay. Now say so or else UID. Okay, unique identifying UID something unique identifier. Okay. Now say there is a class called as person class. Now what do you think, guys? In always and always, do you have, say there is one more class called as create persons. Okay, do you always have this persons class variables, okay, hard coded to something like say here Nishant. Okay, and UID, say this is the UID. Okay, intents. Will we have global variables of the class hard coded? See, the chances of hard coding global variable is very less, guys. Okay, hard coding in the sense initially itself you are saying it's a Nishan, it's very less. Okay, it's like 97% of the time you will not hard code like this, neither you will hard code UID. Okay, why they don't hard code is why they don't hard code is the reason is very simple, guys. Okay, why someone needs a particular class like this? Okay, why someone needs particular class like this? Okay, that is because, okay, now I won't be able to tell you exactly in Selenium sense, but say imagine someone is developing an application. Okay, a developer is developing an application, and there is a form. Okay, form, he can enter his name, and he can, you know, enter his all the details. Okay, so say 10-15 details are there, but you know, we'll take a simple example wherein only two things are there. Okay, so there is a link called as register yourself, and when you click on that link, say this particular form is coming up. Okay, and here you have to put your name, and here they will say UID. Okay, so whatever is your name you will write here in this box, and say you have an Aadhaar card or something, you'll write that Aadhaar card over here. Okay, and then you will say a submit button is here, submit button. Okay, this is the form, guys. Okay, now what happens in the industry is when someone gives this kind of a form. Okay, someone say this is the form, and here you have username box, not the username, name box, UID box, and here you have a submit button. Okay, and this is a page. Okay, now when someone does like this, okay, when someone enters here something like this, So someone enters some value here and someone enters some value in this page, and when someone clicks on submit button, okay, say this is my submit button. What happens is whatever that you have written here and here will be going back to the backend, guys, okay, to the server, okay, to the server, okay. And there are technologies like, you know, J2EE in case of Java, okay, J2EE, okay, Java 2 Enterprise Edition, okay, for web development. But behind the scene, when this information reaches the server, what exactly they do is, that is what I will be showing you guys, okay. What they do is very simple. They will say something like this. Say that information comes here in this particular method, that information comes. They will simply do person person or person P is equal to no person. Okay, and they will say person dot, or say P1, I'll say P1 dot name is equal to whatever that information you get. Okay, say you are getting it here, you are filling J, it will be assigned like this. And similarly, say you had entered here something like J and UID is 700, okay, something like this. Now that 700 also comes here, okay, UID is equal to 700. This is how they will write it, guys, in the backend. Once they write it, normally what they do, normally they will persist this data into the database. They will persist this data into the database. Now when I say they persist this data into the database, they will have some logic here, some logic to save person object in DB. Okay, this is where this is around, they are using something called as you know, JDBC. Okay, and I'll be giving you some videos. Okay, I'll be recording some videos, and JDBC connection related thing also I'm planning to give, guys, okay, as a part of, it's not nothing to do with the Selenium, but in the rare, and nothing to do with the Java even, okay. In the rarest of rare scenarios, they do ask you regarding in mainly in the banking projects and all, they do ask you, do you know how to get data from the database and all, okay. So I'm planning to do that one as well, okay. That is that, just wanted to tell you, okay. But say there is some logic written here to persist this person object into the database, okay. Now database will look something like this, okay. It will have a table called as person table, okay, person table, and it will have two columns, okay. One is name and second one is UID, okay. Now when you save the first patient or first person, something like this, one row will be saved and his UID will be saved. Say one more person comes the same thing, one more person comes the same thing and does, next time he does J and something else, okay, or something else, okay. The same method will be called again, and that time whatever that comes here, okay, they normally say, okay, how they do it, there will be something called as parameter, okay. Here it will not work, parameter dot name they will say. Now parameter dot or params dot name, okay. Params is something called as map in Java, okay. If you say, they will write code something like this, okay. they will not hard code anything, guys. So whatever user enters, it will be assigned it to p1.name, p1.uid, and then they will be saving it, guys. Okay. Now second time someone enters something, Priyank and 7,000. Okay. The same information will be written. Okay, something like this, Priyank and 7,000. Okay, and this is how actually works, guys. Okay, and that is the main reason this one will not be hard coded like this. Okay, it will not be hard coded. Now say instead of params.name, it will not work, so I'll say J here, and here I'll say 700. Now I'll try to print it. SYS OUT P1. If I print, it will gonna give the memory address. If I print, say I'll say plus P1 dot name plus P1 dot UID. Okay, and UID normally should be lowercase, guys. Okay, that's good practice. Okay, UID. Okay, and now if I run this, okay, first it will print the memory address, then it is printing J, then it is printing 700. Okay, so I'll do something like this. Yes. Run as. Okay, this is what is happening. Okay, and if you don't want to print the memory address, just remove it, because we already know it gets printed. Okay, I mean JN 700. Now consider there will be time wherein multiple people will be doing this form submission. Multiple people will be doing. Okay, say it's the last date. Okay, and say you never know how many people will do the form submission. Okay, so normally how they will have is they will create as many person object as they want. Say he will say P2. Okay, and the similar logic, whatever they pass, you will say, so Priyank you will say, and here you will say 900. Okay, and you will store it in the DB. Okay, some this one, and here you are printing it. Okay, printing is just for our purpose, guys. Okay, just is P2, and here also P2. Like this, you might have n number of objects at the same time in the memory. Okay, if at all I say, okay, I said P2 here, right? P2 and P2. See, Priyank and 900. Now if I have to show you, okay, in a debug view, debug as Java application, I just want to show you quickly something here. Okay, now you have two objects, one is P1 object and one is P2 object. Okay, now P1 object, if you see, if I click on the P1 object, it is at memory location something. Okay, say this is the memory location of the P1 object. This is the memory address, okay, and we say 7, okay, and this is continuous memory. And P1 object might have taken these 3 bytes, okay, 3 bytes P1 object has taken. In the same way, if I click on P2, it gives memory addresses this way. Okay, and this is the most important thing to know when it comes to non-static and non-static. Okay, this is the basic. Say this is the P2 object. Okay, so all the objects of that particular class will almost have the same length. Okay, same length. This is your P2 object. Okay, and here you have the name written, and in this case the name will be Jai will be written here, and 700 will be written here, and 900 will be written here, and 900 will be written here, and here what is that, Priyank will be written. Okay, like this. So each object, the thing to understand is each object will have its own memory address, correct? Each object will have its own memory address. This object has my own memory address. This object also has its own memory address. That is what you need to understand. Now this is all fine, perfectly fine, but consider a scenario, and that is what you are seeing. Okay, there are two objects here, one is P1, one is P1, one is P2. Okay, so you can have n number of objects alive at the same time in the memory. That is the point to understand. You can have even 2000 or 10,000 such objects of person class can be alive at the same time in the memory. Is there any confusion here, guys? No? Okay. Now when you have such a thing, okay, when you have such a scenario, imagine this application that you are writing. This application is for, this it takes something like this application is only for Indians, okay, and foreigners will not have any foreigners. It's not for foreigners, only for Indians, okay, not for any other country. Say you are creating submit. Say if it is Indian, some people might give a choice here. Okay, they normally will not give choice, but they might have a drop down kind of thing. Okay, drop down and say some field like this, and it is drop down or a text box, but it will not be editable. It will always have India written. Okay, and you cannot change it. Okay, first two boxes you can write whatever you want to write as per your name and your UID, but here this particular field you cannot change. Okay, say this is non-editable field, and for this particular application it's gonna be always and always the third field is India. Okay, that is country field. So I'm slightly changing this particular program, and I'm adding one more. I'm adding just a minute. I'm adding one more field called as string country. String country. Okay, and this is the important thing, guys. Okay, just give attention for next 10 minutes. You will understand what is static and what is not static. Okay, and believe me, okay, 95% of the people get it wrong. Okay, this static and non-static. Okay, I have added one more field called as country. Say every time we know that P1 dot country, it's always gonna be India. It's always gonna be India. And for all the objects, whatever objects you create, it's always P2 dot country. It's always and always gonna be India. Now if I say I'll bring this P2 dot UID plus P2 dot country. Okay, it's always India because it is non-editable field. Okay, disabled field. Okay, and India is always field. So if I run this or if I debug it now, you will say P1 has three things: country, name, and UID. P2 also has country, name, and UID. Now, if it's always gonna be the same for all the objects of person class, then the problem is this. Say country is taking 2 bytes. Okay, it's a string and it is taking 2 bytes. Okay, and it's you will write here India, correct? And the same thing goes here as well. You'll write India. Okay, now your object is this much big. Okay, and it's always going to be India. Say when millions of people are using your application, okay, and there are all chances that at any point of time you might have 10,000 objects alive at any point of time. Say here there are only two objects. I'm saying there might be 10,000 objects, and for all those 10,000 objects it makes sense to have name variable and what is this UID variable, but there is no point in having in the country name. That's because, and when you save it, this is how it will be. Now your person table has one more thing. Okay, and you say country, it's always gonna be India. It's always gonna be India. Now the problem is when these two objects are alive in the memory, in the RAM, it is taking some memory for country object. Okay, say 2 bytes, and say 10,000 objects are there, so 10,000 into 2, say 20,000 bytes it is taking. 20,000 bytes it is taking. This is on the RAM. Now in the database size also, it is unnecessary. You always know it is country here. Country is India. There is no point in saving it, guys. Okay, the you get the information which is specific to the person. You don't get these information which are the common for all the rows. Okay, so here also it's a waste of resource, guys. This is also waste of resource, all these things. So now you remember this, it will have P1 country is there, name is there, UID is there. P2 country is there, name is there, UID is there. But right now I said this is, I have not said whether it is a static or not. Okay, so imagine right now all three things are non-static. If I want to make it a static, I need to do like this. But if I want to make them non-static, I just need to remove this static keyword. That's it, guys. Now I will do a thing here and I will say this is static now. This is static. It was non-static, country was non-static. I said it is a static. Okay. It's a static. Now if you see debug as Java application, do you see country variable has gone? It is not there in any of the object. It's not there in any other object. Now what happens in behind the scene is, now since I said country object is a non-static object, it will behave something like this. Okay, if I go to this your Excel file, it will create one more object here at some memory address. Say this is the memory address. Okay, this is the sorry. So this is the memory address 5656. Here it will write something called as India. Here it will write something called as India. Okay, as a separate object. Okay. Now wherever it needs this reference of India, right? It will now it doesn't need this 2 bytes. Why? Because I'll tell you why it doesn't need the 2 bytes. Okay. Give me 1 minute. Instead of writing India, it will write this memory location. Here also this memory location will be written, and these things will be freed up, guys. Okay. Now by doing this, what you have done, initially 20,000 objects were taking, each object used to take 2 bytes for this saving. What is that? Country property, but now each object is taking only 1 byte, guys. So from the 20,000 you have reduced it to, what is that? Half of it. 10,000 bytes alone is needed to store country property. And now one more thing to understand is, if at all I say country, change it for one object. If I say USA tomorrow, it will change for all the objects. That is the important thing to know, guys. If I change it for one object, it will change for all the objects, because all the objects are referencing to this particular object. Okay, so that is what we will be seeing now practically. Okay, now if I say this is what you have seen, and if first it printed Jai 700, okay, and here I'm not printing. Okay, first time I'm printing this one. So here Priyank 900 and India. Okay, I'll do the same thing here. Okay, now can someone tell me, okay, forget about the country object. If at all I run this, it will first print me Jai 700 in India, Priyank 900 in India. Okay, say I'm not initializing here the peon object, I'm not initializing it to Jai. Okay, I'm not initializing. Okay, I'll comment it. Instead of Jai, now what will be printed here? Any clue, guys? Say I'm creating the object of the person, and I'm saying person.name equals to nothing. I'm not doing this. UID I'm initializing, and country also I'm initializing. What will the value? Instead of Jai, what will show here? What is the, these are the global variable, right? Name is a global variable, UID is a global variable, and this country is also a global variable. What is the default value of a global variable?
So by default, there would be some value.
Yeah, what is the value? That is what we discussed in day before yesterday's in case of string. In case of any object, it is always null. Okay, string is an object, we said, right? So it is printing you null, correct? But it is printing you Priyank because second object you are initializing it to Priyank. Okay, this is for non. This is how a non-static variable works. Okay, say in second object you are say you are not initializing UID. Okay, then the default value of int is 0. Okay, so it will print 0 for the second object. First object I'm initializing 700. For the second object I'm saying 0. That's because the default value of an integer is 0 when global variable. This is applicable only in case of global variable. Okay, any doubts in this particular output? Now static, we have not seen what is happening here. It's always printing India and India, but any problem in non-static variable? No. Okay, but this is the beauty of static variable. Okay, for the first object I'm initializing it to India, and the second object I'm not initializing it to anything. So let's see second object prints null or the India. Okay, and it you will gonna see
It should be
even though,
India.
yeah, go ahead. You asked something, someone? No. Okay.
No, no, no. I was just saying this should be India only because you have declared this country as a static variable that to global. So
that that is
the value should be India.
that is real. Okay, now now the thing to understand is, if at all you initialize a static property in any one object, it will change for all the objects. Okay, say you are saying here, instead of India you are changing it for USA. USA here. Now if you print this again P1 object, for P1 object also it will be changed. Okay, if I say, see, it got changed for P1 object also. I have just changed for P2. That's because this is a shared object now. It is shared and referenced by all the objects. And this is what is the difference between static and non-static. Okay, and this is the most important thing, guys. Okay, they wanted to save memory footprint of Java. That is the main reason they have come up with this thing called as static and non-static. When you say a property is a static property, it will be shared by all the objects. If it is a non-static, then that property is unique for each and every object. This is Jai. If at all you say tomorrow, if at all you say p2.name equals to Priyank, it will not gonna change p1.name. But if you say p2.country equals to USA, it will also change p1.country also. That's because that's the shared property, guys. That's the shared property. That is what you need to know. And this is what is the difference between static and non-static. They want to save memory. That is the reason they are using it. Okay. And here you might have seen they have reduced it from 10,000, sorry, 20,000 to 10,000. Okay, just only half. Consider there are other objects, like there is something called as, you can say, there is something called as list. Okay, list of string. Okay, something like this. Okay, the list of string has list of string, say places. Okay, each list might take just a minute. Each list might take around 40 bytes. Okay, 40 bytes. So in now if you see the person's object, the first name property will take 2 objects, UID property will take 1 byte, country property take 1 byte, and list, this particular list might take around 10 bytes in each and every object. Okay, and say places visited is, it's a common property, then probably you will make it as static, so that this particular thing will be common across all the things. So each and every object will not take 10 bytes for places visited. It will be just one byte it will take, and it will be somewhere over here. Okay, 1 byte. So you can reduce from 1 lakh to 1/10 of it, 10 lakh. Okay, so that is how it works. It is not always that it will reduce the memory footprint by half. It might reduce by any size. It depends on what property you have made it as static and how much that property was holding. Okay, what was the memory footprint of that particular property, guys. Okay, this is the difference between static and non-static. A static is something which will be shared by all the objects. So if you go on the internet, they will say static doesn't belong to objects, but non-static belongs to objects. That is what they will say. Why they say is non-static property will have a copy of it in each and every object. Okay, say the non-static property, why it is not. Okay, now if you see here, non-static property will have in each and every object you will have a non-static property, whatever property that you have. But static property will not be part of your object at all. That is the reason they say that static doesn't belong to an object, but non-static belongs to an object. Okay, any doubts here, guys? Any one of you? Not just in static, non-static. If at all you are getting confused in what I have written here, that also you can ask me, guys. They say maximum of the people, if I ask in the interview, they say static is something which cannot be changed, non-static can be changed. Okay, it's all it's all wrong, guys. Okay, there is nothing called as it cannot be changed. It can be changed, but it is like a shared property. So if it change for one object, it gets reflected for all the objects. Even if you have 1 million objects, okay, say P1, P2, P3, like that, you go to all these 1 million object means 10 lakh object, and even in one object if you say P9999, okay, dot country is equal to, you say, Argentina. For all 10 lakh objects, the country will be Argentina. That's the thing, guys. Okay, it's a shared property.
Vishal,
Yeah.
I have meeting at 9, so I may need to go.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
I'll just drop off. Yeah.
Upload it. Yeah, no issues.
Yeah. So I'll just go through the rest of the thing
Yeah,
tonight.
sure.
Okay.
No issues.
Yeah. Thank you, Vishal. Have a good night.
Okay. Now, Priyank, any doubts here?
No, Vishal.
No, right? Okay. This is the main thing that you need to know about the static and non-static. Okay, and this is the main reason they come up with static and non-static. Yes, go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, so I hope you will be explaining static in method name as well.
Yes, method name as
Like
well.
we have
Yes, static
public
method.
static void.
That is the next step. Okay, that is the next step. Okay, that is the thing.
And in debugging mode, we have one ID is mentioned. So what is that
Which
in
one?
variables?
No, I didn't get you.
Can you please run debug mode? Variable name will be listed there onto the right side.
Correct.
Can you please run that?
Okay, so you want run as, sorry, debug as,
Not run debug.
yeah, Java application.
ID is mentioned against every value.
Okay,
So
see any object, it is,
ID.
yeah, that is right. It is like your every object in Java. Okay, it is more of, instead of, I can say, instead of a Java property, it is more of your, what is this called, Eclipse property. Okay, Eclipse uses something called as a reflection API. Behind the scene, it uses something called as a reflection API. Okay, reflection API. And all this debugging and all, it's possible because of this reflection API. Okay, and in the reflection of API, Eclipse, to keep track of the objects, it just gives these IDs, guys. Okay, it has nothing to do with us as a developer. No, it has no significance at all. It's about the reflection API. But if you go inside here, okay, not the name, uh, not the name, just a minute. Debug as Java application. Name itself will have, you know, more property. Okay, something called as hash value, and it will have name of 0, name of 1, name of 2. Okay, it's basically an array, guys. Okay, that's the thing. So value is of significance for us. Okay, and apart from this, nothing else. Okay, hash, I'm not sure what is this exact hash, what it is talking about, but ID is definitely not for the developers. Anything else? Yeah.
No.
Okay, perfect. Now, this is the main reason why they introduce something called as static and non-static. Okay, static and non-static, to save the memory footprint. But thing that you need to understand is one more. Okay, and this, most of the people, they will answer in the interview this first thing, but the second thing, the I mean, most of the people, whatever I'm gonna tell you now, they will answer that. They will not know this about the memory footprint. Okay, so this was the main reason they had introduced what you call this, static and non-static. Okay, but the other use of static and non-static is, if at all you define a variable as a static, you can access it using the class name. You can say person dot country, and you can, if you want, you can print it if it is a static property. But non-static property, say if I run this, it prints you as it. But non-static property cannot be done like this. If you want to access name, you cannot say person dot name. It will give you an error, because class name dot property name can be done only in case of static property. This is the second use. This is the second use, guys. Okay, but the second use, most of the people will tell in the interview. Okay, but this is not the you tell it in the interview, that's fine, but this is not the reason. Just not just for accessing it, they have made it a static and non-static. The reason for making it a static and non-static is to save the memory footprint. Okay, and the same thing applies with, say you have a method called as greet method, public void greet. Okay, greet. If you say this greet method as static, public static, if you say, you can say person dot greet. You need not create the object of it. All other things remains the same. If at all you say static, each and every object will not have the memory allocated for that particular method. But if it is a non-static, you cannot do it like this. It will give you an error. So if at all you go maximum number of times, you first tell static can be accessed by both ways. You can access it using like this, that is object reference dot static property, or else class name dot static property. But in case of non-static, only option is object reference, that is object reference dot variable. This is the first thing that you have to say. Then you can go on to explain about the memory footprint. But memory footprint is more important, guys. Okay. Any doubt here, Priyanka?
No.
No? Okay. If there is no doubt, that's it for today. And remember this static and non-static. And it's the same. Okay, even if it is a method, we can, if it is static, we can say class name dot method. If not, you have to create the object of the class like this, p1 string of p. You said you should say p1 dot greet. Okay, because now it is non-static. That is the only thing that you need to know. Okay. And that's it for today. And I will see this. What is this thing called? I'll normally Google it. What is that package info? And I'll try to get back to you in tomorrow's class. Okay. Thanks a lot, Priyan. Bye bye.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye.